Okay, today we'll be looking at a late 90s, early 2000s Suzuki Quadrunner 500 fuel tank. And a lot of these Suzukis will have the same setup, but we've got reserve up top, we've got prime on the side, we've got on down below. So right now, I pulled all the screws just to save time, but pull this Phillips screw that's in the center, and we'll pull that knob off of there. And then we will pull this plate off. There's 4 Phillips screws, smaller Phillips screws. We'll pull that off. And then we've got, right here, we've got your actual valve. And there's a spring-loaded washer here. I'm gonna make sure that, going back together, goes into the right place. And then we've got this, the actual valve part of it here. And that is sealed with a rubber O-ring. So you just wanna make sure, going back together, that seals properly. There's no grooves, nothing there. So what it is here, when you're turned on reserve, you've got your fuel coming down this line here, coming out right here. So this is always fuel coming from the tank here, and this is always fuel here going out to the carburetor. So when you've got your, this is gonna be essentially just flipped right over. When you've got your fuel on reserve here, which is in this position, fuel is going to be flowing directly through there. Okay, you turn that to prime. So you're looking at it here, and that's going to be using this port here, coming from the fuel tank, and going right down into here. And that's the prime position. And you turn it to on, and that's going to be this position here. And so your knob is going to be straight down, okay, to the on position. And that's going to be taking fuel from here to here, okay? And as you can see, this is the prime. This is the position it's using the fuel diaphragm in the back of the Petcock valve here. And on the other side, there's 4 screws and a diaphragm, and that is using a sucking method, pumping fuel out of the tank into the carburetor when needed. So going back together, this right now is in the on position, and you want to make sure, going back together, that's seated properly. Take the spring-loaded washer here, set that down into the groove. Take this plate here, set it down. You want to make sure that that's seated properly. And you take these 4 Phillips screws, tighten them down. And you want to make sure before you get too extreme tightening them down that that valve turns freely, that nothing's binding. Sometimes that spring-loaded washer can kind of pop out of place, and there's not a lot of spring there, but it puts pressure on that valve so that fuel doesn't leak past there. So we'll tighten down these somewhat, and then we'll take that valve and just set it on there again. Right now we're in the on position, so you turn it, and as long as you can turn it, you're free. So that is the fuel tank on a Quadrunner 500.